Amy Gordona. I love it.
It makes me feel good every time I hear it.
It is. It's very magical, very whimsical. And thank you for tuning in to this edition of Kestra Out Loud, hosted today at the beautiful Fairmont Princess in Scottsdale, Arizona.
It's beautiful here.
Gorgeous. I'm Maria Bethel, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, the one and only Austin Moon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please stop.
Are you always that extra?
I'm always extra.
Oh, okay. Just checking. So our Ascend conference, as you know, is all about empowering the advisor's success. So today we're going to give you some highlights, the 3 top things you want to know about the Ascend conference, and most importantly, the big scoop on the after party.
Who doesn't love a good party?
Exactly. So to help us do all of those things today, we have a very special guest in-house with us, Senior Vice President of Marketing,
Amy Gordona.
That made me feel special. Thank you
because
both.
You are special.
We couldn't think of a better first guest to have on the show. Amy, our esteemed executive, highly coveted, and plus she approved the budget for the show. So,
exactly.
We had to have her on.
As long as you follow me around with that sound effect all day.
Amy Gordona. So, Amy, we'd love to launch with just share some insight on what everyone's most excited about our Ascend conference this year.
Well, first and foremost, it's our 3rd annual Super Bowl party this year.
Woo! Go. Wait, who's in the Super Bowl?
No one yet,
No one,
Maria.
we don't know
Okay,
yet.
that makes sense.
TBD.
Back to you.
Everyone forget that Maria didn't know the schedule of football.
Oops.
But the point being, whether your favorite team is in the Super Bowl or out of the Super Bowl, we have a great Super Bowl party lined up to kick things off on Sunday night. There's always lots of great food, lots of great friends, and some drinks to boot. So you can enjoy the game in high definition in a beautiful setting. So Super Bowl party's number 1. Number 2, we have the most advisors that we've ever had register for Ascend this year. And so it is going to be a fantastic opportunity for our advisors to get to see old friends, get to make new friends, and also get to see the faces of the folks that they deal with in the home office each and every day. So people are always excited to network with their peers, both inside and outside the home office.
Definitely put a face to a name. It's always exciting.
It is exciting.
With a drink. Just saying.
And some great content.
And some great content, of course, like this podcast, for instance.
This is going to be the highlight of Ascend.
Definitely. All right, so let's just take a minute and talk about a couple of phenomenal keynote speakers that we have on the agenda this year. First up to the plate is going to be Alan Mulally as the former president and CEO of the Ford Motor Company. Could you speak to that just for a minute?
Yeah, we're really excited to have someone of this caliber on the main stage at Ascend. If you remember Ford Motor Company 10 years ago, maybe more now, I might be dating myself a little bit, but if you remember Ford Motor Company back when we were in the recession, Ford was probably at one of its lowest points, and Alan Mulally is credited with the complete turnaround of Ford Motor Company. He inspired people to think differently, do differently, new processes in place, inspired change, and now Ford is back up to probably the peak of its brand in terms of sales and brand recognition and trust for the brand. And so it's a really great story there for the entrepreneurs in the room that run their own businesses in terms of how do you lead through challenging times? How do you inspire the people that work for you? How do you encourage trust and transparency? And so as someone who sat in that seat and had to do it on that type of scale, to have insight into his thought process and to be able to ask him questions about everything he has accomplished in his career is going to be a real treat for our advisors.
Thank you. In addition to that, we're going to have Geoff Colvin, who is the senior editor of Fortune magazine, author of Humans Are Underrated, and he is going to be joining us, a little special announcement there, on the Kestra Out Loud podcast. Could you tell us a little bit more about Geoff?
Yeah, and Geoff is, again, we are lucky to have the caliber of Geoff on the main stage this year. Talk about someone who has the pulse on what's going on in terms of the economic landscape and how that mashes with the political landscape and how it mashes with how the market's doing. He has clearly a bird's eye view, no pun intended, a bird's eye view on how all of that comes together. And, this is a little bit of a different approach for us at Ascend. Normally we have a fairly traditional chief investment officer give a fairly straightforward market update, but we felt with the dynamics of 2020, with the election year going on, with the politics and the economic landscape in place and everything that could be affected and swinging the markets, that this would really be a different, insightful approach to how we look at that.
That sounds fantastic. What about some networking opportunities? Talk about how we can network with sponsors, with other advisors, kind of the opportunity there to empower advisor success through networking.
Our sponsors of Ascend, so the partners that you all or our advisors are familiar with day in and day out, really give a lot of their time, effort, intellectual capital to come and spend time with us and to really offer the best ideas that their companies have to offer, the best products that their company have to offer. And they're really invested in wanting to help our advisors grow their business. And so I think that it really is important that our advisors spend the time to either target some sponsors to talk to or go and seek out some of our sponsors and really learn what they have to offer, because I think there's a lot of things that then you can take and you can really use in your other networking opportunities as it relates to your peers, that relates to old friends, as it relates to some new advisors that you may be sharing the experience with.
So this year at the conference, as with our previous conferences, we are doing charitable donations. So we want to take a minute and just touch point on this so that our audience can have a better understanding of what we're doing to help the local communities of our advisors.
Yeah, and this is one of the, I think unsung hero moments of the Ascend Conference. Our advisors of their own accord have to apply for one of our charitable donation awards. And they have to not only apply by filling out what you'd call like a standard questionnaire, but they have to write an essay, and they actually have to present the reasons why that their business is worthy of winning one of the 3 awards that we give out. And what makes it special is that our advisors are spread out all amongst the country, and they are embedded in their own communities. And we give the award in the form of a check that they can use in their communities to support their charities or support the folks in their communities that need the charitable donations. And so it's really an extension of the work that their advisors are doing in their own communities, and they really get to bring that back to them if they win the award.
I absolutely love seeing advisors give back to their community.
They're so proud. They really are so proud. I've seen advisors that, they're proud to get on the big stage at Ascend and win the award. But what I've seen is that after, when they go back and they present the award to their local charities or their local Y or their local organization that they support, sometimes this is the biggest check that some of those organizations have received in quite some time. And it's an enormous help for these organizations that they support in their local communities. So it's a really fun, inspiring part of the conference.
Speaking of inspiring, tell me about the big party. What's the scoop on the big party at the end of Ascend?
Under the boardwalk.
Is that a hint?
I think that's a thematic hint.
Oh,
right.
Very dramatic.
I know. We will be in sunny Arizona, or we are in sunny Arizona.
In February, so that's something awesome.
And it is a lot warmer than what most of the people across the country are experiencing. And so we're going to bring it back. We're going to harken it back to the summer feel of Under the Boardwalk, when you're part carnival, part beach, food, entertainment, and games that are all associated with that song.
And Amy's going to sing for us too. Hopefully some more.
No one would want any
theme music.
Did you say I was the J-Lo?
The J-Lo of the financial services industry.
Yes.
I don't think you want me singing for you, but that was as much as I'll give without being.
We'll take it.
Without scaring people away.
Sounds like a very nostalgic event. Like we're going to go back to our childhood just a little bit.
I feel like that. I feel like if you ever went to the Jersey Shore as a kid or Coney Island, I think it's going to have some of those vibes.
Nice.
Awesome. So that's going to wrap up our show today. We want to take a moment and just really thank our special guest, Amy Gordona, for joining us today.
All day long, Austin. All day long.
So please subscribe to our podcast. We're going to have some special guests, more special guests, industry insights on how we empower advisor success. You can download us on iTunes or check us out on YouTube, Kestra Out Loud.
Over and out.